Today we have a legend coming on with Mike Wardian. Excited to talk to him. He's got a lot of stuff. Like he's not just a crazy guy that just runs miles and miles and miles. He's got a lot to tell us today, so we're excited to have him on. Hopefully, you're seeing this. You know what? I'm going to... There it is. All right. This should actually be a better connection going over the 5G in Baltimore than it is if I use my Wi-Fi for some reason. But that's great. Hi to the Woodlands Marathon, one of our favorites. And luckily they got off right before races had to be canceled, so they had one of the last marathons in the U.S. to get off. We've got Michael Wardian coming on right now, so without further ado, let's go. There it is.
Hey,
Mike. How you doing,
what's up,
buddy?
guys?
Good to
I'm
see
good.
you. So you've been doing a lot of stuff lately. Well, not lately, all the time.
True.
I mean, I got to tell you, I actually really would want to interview your wife.
That might be able to be arranged.
I've heard that she's got a wicked sense of humor.
True.
And that, I mean, you guys do the same adventures, but she just does it a little different, right?
She does them, yeah, quite a bit different. She's not a runner, and so yeah, she likes to go on a lot of the adventures, but yeah, she's not like hiking up mountains or anything. She's more like just checking out the shops and restaurants and bars, and yeah, just keeping everything real.
And that works out because you've either got to have one or two things. You've either got to have a partner that wants to run and do all the adventures with you, or somebody who is okay with you doing the adventures and they can entertain themselves.
Yeah, she is definitely good at like being alone and content in her own space, and especially like with the kids now, like she's super just willing to do all the stuff that needs to get done.
Yeah. And the boys obviously aren't running hundreds of miles up and down the Rockies and stuff with you. So
Not yet, no.
yeah.
They run a little bit. They do like run club, and they're Pierce, the older 13-year-olds on the track team. But like the longest distance they do is I think 800 meters right now.
Okay.
So yeah, so
I mean, you
yeah.
do 800 meters. You just do it 1,000 times at a go.
Yeah. That's basically, I was actually thinking about that. I think I've run 1,000 times around the block in my neighborhood. Literally,
so that was
like 1,000 times.
You did, well, you must have, because you just did, what was the challenge you did right before the Hook Australia challenge? The 24-hour backyard challenge.
Oh, it was the quarantine backyard?
That's it.
Yeah, the quarantine backyard. Well, that's not 24 hours. That's like until someone quits.
Yeah,
or
that
until
was,
everyone quits.
How many days did that end up going?
It was almost 3. So it was 63 hours.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
That was an impressive win.
That was, yeah, surprising. Like for me, it was the biggest thing I've ever done. So yeah, it was pretty cool to be still in it and to have somebody that was able to go that far.
Yeah. Your resume is so big with all these different, the Spider-Man fastest costume marathon, you've got to go back and take that title back, right?
Yeah, except I think it's pretty legit. My friend Paul, I think, might have the record. I think it's fast, like 2:17 or something. Like it's pretty stout. Or it might be Wonder Woman who has the costume record, and she was super fast. I think I ran 2:27 at London, and she either was ahead of me or like right behind me. But it was it was impressive. Like yeah, I was like, holy crap, I'm gonna lose to Wonder Woman. And yeah, she was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I was going to get to at this point was that you've done so many things and had so many, legit races, just straight up running. And then you've also done a lot of, crazier, or I would say, entertainment style races.
Yeah.
Of the stuff that you've done, what is like, if you could give me your top 3 things that you're like the most like, this is something that I like etched on my wall here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've done, yeah, a lot of things, and had a long career. And I'd say, I guess working backwards, like the backyard thing for me was, probably the biggest thing, running that far, 63 hours and 262 miles. So basically 10 marathons over the course of a couple days. Like that was pretty awesome. And it was kind of neat too, because it was kind of an evolution of everything I've done over my career. Like I used basically everything I learned from, when I first started, like, being patient, like taking care of yourself, building a network to help you, continuing to eat, like nutrition, like overcoming sleep deprivation, like all those things I've kind of, cobbled together over the years. And to be able to put it all together, and then, to be able to execute when you need to, like, for me, that was kind of a cool thing, and something that I was really proud of. I think I have run for Team USA, like 10 times. And I think anytime that you have the ability to put on a kit from your country, and be able to represent, the United States in international competition, and come home with, medals from something you did. I mean, I don't think there's anything better than hearing your national anthem first, an effort that you put out. And you're standing on the podium with your teammates, and the Star Spangled Banner is playing. And that's, yeah, I'm getting chills right now just talking
Getting
about it.
goosebumps.
And yeah, it's like, it's by far one of the coolest things ever. And then I'd say probably the third thing is qualifying for 3 Olympic trials, and like the first one in 2003, like that really gave me the permission, I think, to believe that I was a legit runner, and to start having some bigger dreams. And so yeah, so I mean there's a lot of things, like running with my son, and setting a world record, and setting world records on the treadmill, and 7 marathons in 7 days on 7 continents. And
That was the one that I was gonna pull. I was hoping that maybe you'd mention that one, because that
yeah,
one, as a spectator watching, just
yeah,
watching Instagram, it was just so, like, it's almost unfathomable, like all the way to Antarctica, and then
yeah.
coming up, and you seeing you travel all over the place. There's a slight bit of jealousy as a runner to be like, oh wow, look at all the places he's going to run, and there's a slight bit of like, oh my God, what is his legs got to be feeling like? And you talk about
Yeah,
the backyard challenge and stuff like that, and there's obviously, people think, okay, well, Michael Wardian's just gifted, he's just, he's got freakish recovery skills or something like that. But the fact of the matter is, you put in the work all the time to get to the place where you are. Like, what type of like maintenance are you doing? Like, I see you doing the exercises on Instagram, but like
yeah.
nutrition and all that, what are you doing to prepare yourself for these long back-to-back miles?
I mean, I feel like I've been doing that since I very first started. So like I think my first year of running, I ended up doing like 5 marathons, and the JFK 50 miler. So like, yeah, I think I've been lucky that I've been, unafraid of, kind of bucking the norms with like how many races you're supposed to do, or listening to the pundits about stuff. And I've had success with that. But I mean, I'm super careful, like, about what I'm consuming, what I'm eating, what I'm doing as far as like training volume. Like I had in 2012, I had my real bad bout of injury where I had 5 stress fractures and 5 hernias simultaneously. And but other than that, in like 20 years, I've been really healthy. And I think that's, somewhat just listening, like everyone says, like, listen to your body. But really, before I got hurt, I would say that, but I didn't actually mean that. I would just be like, yeah, I'm going to listen to my body, and my body's going to be like, yeah, you're doing 100 miles. Like, I didn't care if my foot was falling off. I was going to get triple digits. But now, like, if I get 60 miles and I'm completely zonked, like this week, I think I've run like 10 miles, you know? So like, but I've done like, you know, a bunch of workouts and a bunch of mobility stuff. And
Yeah.
today I did like my first ever like deadlifting routine,
Mm.
and like I'm crushed, but like it's just, you know, trying to mix things up. Like, and I think what I've been able to do is incorporate like my lifestyle to be always kind of training. Like I'm always trying to find efficiencies. Like I call it invisible training, but like, you know, standing on one foot when I'm brushing my teeth, like stretching my
That's a good tip.
Achilles, like when I'm walking up the stairs, like when I'm sitting at my desk, like every 15, 20 minutes, get up and like, you know, do a plank or, so like, just like little things like that, where, it just becomes part of who you are. And then, you know, I am, you know, a vegetarian. I have been for a long time. And I think that, you know, that's been helpful to me. Yeah. And I think I want to do it. Like, I think I'm like super motivated. Like I set like these big, ridiculous goals, and then you got to do, like, that's the cool thing about running is like you got to do the work. Like there's no like shortcuts, there's no like just because you say it it's going to come true type thing. And there's no like team, you know, you have a group and supporters and people that are willing to help you, but if you're not doing the work, you can't just like, you know, be the 3-point shooter that comes off the
Yeah.
bench.
Well,
And
and that's the tough thing. You have kids. I have kids. They
yeah,
want to be great out the gate, and you know, you got to teach them that. But there's a couple things that you brought up there that are interesting to me. First off, you know, I know you have a job and you have other things other than running,
yeah,
and kind of hearing how you kind of incorporate, like throughout you're mindful throughout the day of doing things to support your running, whether it's calf stretching on the stairs, standing on one leg while you're brushing your teeth. So I think that's important for people to note that, you know, you're not just, I'm going to work out, sit at a desk for 12 hours, and then jump out and run 100 miles for
right.
the evening. There's a process that you've built in. The other thing that I think is interesting about that, though, is, I probably met you, it's got to be 6 or 7, maybe 8 years ago. Matter of fact, I still have, you recommended a shoe at the time, and I got it, and I still have it.
I hope it looks used, because everything behind you looks like you only ran in it once.
Well, you know, I only have to get like 20 miles in before I review it. So, oh, it looks used. Here they are.
Oh yeah, man. I used to love those shoes.
I
Yeah.
know. You were like,
Yeah.
I ran with you, and you were wearing these, and you're like, yeah, I love them. They're a great minimal shoe. I know you're Hoka
Yeah.
now. I love
Yeah,
Hoka too.
those are like the Lunar Racers. Yeah, I used to run in those all the time. Like, I think, I mean, I've been with Hoka now for, I don't know, 8 or 9 years too. So it must have been right.
Just
Yeah,
for your sponsor, we'll get.
yeah. Well, I mean, I was gonna say like, I thought those shoes were great, but I I didn't know about how much things have changed, and just like
They
how
have.
great shoes, like those things were really good at that point in time. I
Yeah.
think that was maybe like 2009 or 2010 maybe.
Yeah.
um
That's around when
and
we met. Yeah. So
yeah,
10 years ago.
yeah, no, exactly. And like, just like, I mean, Hoka's really changed the whole landscape. Like it's really shocking is like,
It's like a perfect match for you, because I know another shoe brand you were in, and
yeah,
they didn't have anything really for the road,
yeah,
and even their trail stuff wasn't what we have now.
yeah, yeah, no, like what's so awesome about like, and a lot of the Hoka stuff actually crosses really well. Like you can, you know, run in the Carbon X on trails, and
Yeah,
you can
buffed
run.
out. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Or I mean, even some, I mean, yeah, you don't want wet trails,
yeah. I don't know,
but
like
like
I'd
even
run
like the
Patapsco in
Evo.
it.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's awesome trails. Yeah.
Yeah,
But like the Evo Mafati, like those are like one of my favorite trail shoes, but they're great on the roads too. And yeah, I'm really pleased with like how well they've really kind of changed the landscape of what's possible.
were you in the? What was the shoe that you were using for your last one? I noticed that wasn't the carbon. That was the
The
some Clifton
Rocket,
Edge. It's the what's their
Rocket.
Rocket. Yeah.
Yeah. The Rocket. Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
I use that for some of it. I still use the Bondi all the time. I mean, that's like the Bondi 6 is like one of my go-to shoes. Like I totally
yeah,
like,
we're reviewing this one right now.
oh, is that the ring cone or
No,
no?
this is the Bondi 7.
Oh, okay. It's hard to tell like the
I know.
scale on it looks it because it doesn't look as substantial.
Yeah, well, they kind of hide it with the gray stripe. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's the
No,
same.
yeah, man. I'm actually excited. I don't have the 7 yet. I've only got the 6, but
You it's size 10 and a half?
no, I'm 11. But I would take it, man. I'm not above it. Like
Yeah.
yeah, no, I can't wait to get my hands on some. Like it's yeah. I've been really like ever since the stress fractures, like the more protection I can have, like the happier I am.
And that, thanks for bringing that back, because I was going to get back to basically 2010. Like
Yeah.
when I remember I ran my first 50 mile a little bit after that. And, you know, obviously people like you were my inspiration, Dean Karnassus.
Oh,
There,
thanks,
there was
man.
only a handful of people that went long. And there
Well, there's
wasn't,
always been like diehards. I mean, there's like, Western States has been going forever, and
right,
like
but it's not
there's
like now.
like old school guys that were like using like honey bottles, and like those guys are awesome. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
but I'm not saying that you guys originated it. But what I'm saying is nowadays, it used to be rare. I'd run into people that ran marathons. Then all of a sudden, everybody, it felt like, and maybe that's because my situation changed and I was around more runners.
right.
But in the same thing with ultra distance, there was a handful of guys that you saw that you could look up to and go, okay, those are, Scott Jurek, Michael
Yeah,
Wardian,
like
Dean Karnassus, that were,
Hal, like
yeah,
Jimmy Olsen, like, um, yeah, like, yeah, Killian was like still there, Anton,
yeah.
like,
But
yeah, all those
now
guys. Yeah, Ricky
it seems
Gates.
like you evolve. You might do a marathon, and then you go, why am I not going to do a 50K? You do a 50K, and the next thing, so the pool of people running great distances has really changed. When we were talking, you're running and stuff like the Nike Lunarlon, the racer there, and that stuff. You guys were putting miles on. The shoes weren't really built yet for the type of performances you guys were doing.
Yeah, I mean, they had the lunar trainers also that were kind of awesome, like way back. But yeah, for the most part, it was like even way back, I used to run in like the New Balance, like 9090, like the old man
Yeah,
shoes, like the big like gray ones
yeah,
that were like they were so expensive too. Like they're I don't know,
and
they're like
heavy.
$150 in like 1995 or something. And
And
yeah,
probably weighed like 14 ounces.
oh my God, they were so heavy. Yeah,
Yeah.
but like uh, but a lot of people were, I mean, th- I mean, I still have friends like Rich Hanna that he still runs in like super minimal shoes, and he was doing big miles and like,
That's
setting
true.
records.
And during
Um,
that time with the Born to Run, everybody was going with like really minimal trail shoes.
yeah, exactly.
And I think they can work in like we did the Trans Rockies and there was a woman wearing Vibram Five Fingers the whole time. And
Yeah,
or in Vivo, whatever, Vivo feet. And I think they can work. It also depends on the trails. Like it's not like East Coast trails, I think are a lot different than when you go out to switchbacks in Colorado and stuff like that. But
well, yeah, those are pretty buffed out too. Like
yeah,
ours are a little bit more rocky and rooty, and I don't know if I'd say technical, but I mean, you could, I guess. But yeah, I mean, they're just a little bit, we just don't have like the altitude and the like super long climbs, but we got the short, steep climbs that'll, punch
yeah.
you in the gut.
I will call them technical because I believe anything that I trip on or twist my ankle on is technical. And if you take
Yeah.
me out to Patapsco, I'm on the ground like 50% of the time.
Well, it's funny because I think that's what I used to think too, and then I've gotten more comfortable on the trails, and I'm like, oh, I can see why, the really top guys can just, cruise through this. And they used to like when I first like started getting super into it, like I'd just be like, man, those guys are just like they're just crazy. And then as you get, more comfortable, like you start to see the lines better, and you just are able to move faster across the terrain. And And I
Yeah.
think that, yeah, like having shoes like Hoka does help too. I mean, like, you know, I think, you know, not getting a rock slammed into your, you know, you don't need like a snake plate or anything like that. You just have nice cushion and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, sweet. And I mean, I
Well,
think
you
that's
either
what,
have thin cushion with a rock plate or max cushion that's gonna the rock's not gonna get to your foot.
right. Or like, I think what Hoka's done a really good job of is, like kind of in the middle, like, especially like with the Speed Goat and the Mafati and stuff. It's like, those aren't super built, but like,
Or the
and you get
Torrent.
a, yeah, exactly. Or the Torrent. Yeah.
Torrent's probably
And
my favorite.
yeah, and that one's super nice. That one, it doesn't transition as well to the road though. Like it's really good on the trails, but if you're
No,
doing
no.
like it's like it's not like a cross country spike, but it's made for, you know, what its purpose is, which
Yeah.
is, you know, the stuff on the
I'll have to
trails.
remember that because I'm not obviously we're not doing it this year, the hat 50K, but that one has a nice long road stretch on it.
Yeah,
And
I've never done that one. That one's on my list, but I
dude, you
haven't.
should do it. That's a fun race. And
Yeah,
the
it's like
aid
March
stations
or
are
something,
good.
right?
Yeah. It's
Yeah, yeah.
usually, you know, why you're not doing it. You might be, if you're going to Boston or something like that, you're going to be
No, I
afraid.
mean it's usually it's just the timing. Usually I'm like I think it might be the same weekend as like the 50K champs or something,
Yeah.
or yeah.
Well,
So anyhow.
you brought up timing.
Hmm.
We should probably talk a little bit
Oh
about polar.
yeah, yes, we totally
So,
should talk about Polar.
see, and I got the all black, but
I got
I
the green.
I wanted that one, but I don't know if you know Robbie, who's our basically our editor,
Oh no, well
and does
maybe
stuff.
I don't know.
Yeah, he went and got the silver and green one, so I didn't want to. We have so much similar gear as it is
Yeah.
that you know I figured I would go black. But
Well, yeah. I mean, the other thing is like you don't want to get him mixed up because then he'll have your nightly recharge or he'll like mine's like yelling at me like you're overtraining or over. They don't call it overtraining, they call it overreaching. But like
oh
I
wow.
think it's got some really nice features. Like saw that you guys did a review on it, but I like it does like the continual heart rate for you, like which is kind of cool. And
What
then
is your? How long have you been wearing it now?
Well, it's weird. I had one that was the prototype, and it wasn't. I wasn't able to update it really well, and so I just got this newer one. So I've been wearing it I've been wearing a combination of a few for about a week or so, like 'cause it just came out like a week
Yeah.
ago.
Do you wear a
Um,
chest strap with when you work out, or do you just rely on the wrist?
no, I rely on the wrist, and it's pretty awesome actually. So I like because I'm a geek. I like my father-in-law has like a blood pressure machine here, like a real one, you know, where you like plug it in and it like takes your. It's like the, you know, the cheesy ones at the grocery
Legit.
store. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a legit one. It's not like me with like the doctor, like my kids like say, yeah, yeah, exactly. And it was like dead on, and that's every
Oh
time
wow.
yeah. So like I always prefer like I've been like a polar wearer for like I don't know like 25 years. Like that's
Wow.
actually when I first qualified for my first Olympic trials. Like I went heart rate based, and I remember like I was running the New Haven 20K, like it used to be the championship race, and it still is, I think, but I don't know if it's going to happen this year. And like like you're breathing so hard and you get sweaty, and it just would like, you know, it falls down to your like chest. I have this like funny picture of me like running with the
Just
chest strap.
like a belt.
Yeah, like the last like 2K or something. But like I've been really impressed. Like I think Polar is for me like one of the most accurate ones with the wrist based, like just kind of, and it's continuous. And then anyhow, so the point of the story was like I did the thing, and the blood pressure one was exactly the same as the wrist based one, and so that's good enough
That's
for
some
me. I
trust.
mean, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then actually I'll test it against like the other model, like the Vantage. Uh,
That's what Robbie does. He does.
yeah,
He'll have like 5 watches on at a time.
yeah, exactly. And then you're like, oh, yeah, at least they're both either wrong or they're
Yeah.
right. And I'm pretty sure mine's right. So
So tell me something on yours. It's taking me a little bit of time to get used to the different buttons and where things are because this is the first Polar watch I've had. So
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So it's
yeah,
pretty similar to the Vantage. So for me, it's not that big a deal. Um, I I am getting you I'm getting yelled at for my nightly recharge, which I already know. It's because I don't sleep a lot. And so it's like, wow, you're doing all this volume and then you're only sleeping like 2 or 3 hours. Like,
is
so
that
I'm
all you
getting
sleep?
sometimes, yeah. So yeah, that one is not good. So I have nightly recharge poor. So yeah, I'm hoping to do better on
Yeah,
that.
you better get better at that. Who knows, man? You won't be able to run for 63 hours at a time. Yeah.
Well, that's why that I mean that's actually one of the reasons I was able to do pretty well is because like that's actually an advantage in that race. But yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
we're wearing. Someone's asking us. It's the Grit X.
Yeah, we should say the name, I guess. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the Grit
Sorry.
X. It's, I would say, looks wise, it's a pretty sexy watch.
Yeah, it actually has a nice feel too.
Yeah. The,
Um, yeah, it's not too. It looks like it's kind of heavy, but it's actually not that heavy.
yeah. And I've been trying to get used to it. I enjoy some of the features like being able to see the weather at a glance.
Yeah,
And
that's super cool. Yeah.
yeah, so that's
And
helpful.
actually, do you have yours in imperial or metric?
Right now, I put it back to Imperial, but I had fun running in metric because it made me feel like I was going super fast.
Yeah, well, I actually usually train in metrics because I like the instant feedback, but it's also cool because it makes you like get better at doing the weather. So it's like 12 now.
Oh,
And
Celsius.
so like
Celsius.
yeah, so like I always like try to get my
Yeah,
kids to do it that way too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
So
I'm actually, that's funny. I tried to do military time for a while.
oh, I always do that. Yeah.
I can't, I just can't get used to it. I'm
Oh
always
my
like
God.
12 minus. Yeah. I'm not that
It's
bright.
really easy once you get the hang of it, and there's no mess ups. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's actually much. I mean, that's why they do it, but
Yeah,
because you
they
can't be
do have
like,
a
oh,
better
you meant
system.
3 a.m. No,
Yeah.
yeah, it did mean
Well,
3 a.m.
so the reason why they lean heavy on the metric side is this company's from Finland, right?
Yes.
Have you gone out there, or I mean, you go everywhere. Have they had you
Actually,
out?
no. I've been to Finland, but I haven't been to visit them yet. So I was there to try to see the Northern Lights, and we totally did. So it was
Well,
awesome.
you could go see them again, and well, I mean, travel's tough right now, but you could run
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But
Travel is tough right now, but dude, I'm already dreaming. So yeah, for sure.
yeah. So to stay on the virtual thing, then I know. Do
Yeah.
you actually play Fortnite or just do the dances?
Oh no, dude, I play. I actually just won my. I won my first solo match like this week, and then I just won yesterday, and then yeah, and I actually won yesterday. They just put lightsabers back in the game, I
Yeah, that's
guess.
what my boys told me.
Yeah, dude. So it's so awesome. And dude, if you just hold it like this, it'll block everything just like a Jedi. And so I won. And actually, I won with all I had in my loadout was lightsabers. So like I didn't take like a shotgun or anything or
All right,
no
I'm gonna have to
heal.
tell my kids about this.
Yeah, dude,
Uh,
it's awesome.
yeah. Okay, so did you watch Travis Scott do the concert?
Well, you had to because they made you go to it was bogus. It was like an hour. Yeah, they made
Oh,
us.
you had to watch it?
Well, if you wanted to play, you had to play in the like you couldn't play any other game mode other than go to the concert. So yeah.
Oh, because like the numbers for it were insane. Now I know why. It was
Yeah,
like
that's why.
12 million people in 24 hours or something like that. I was like, I didn't
Yeah,
know Travis.
because they totally limited like what you could do, which is I mean, it's smart. I mean, it's their game. They can do what they want. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty brilliant, actually.
Yeah, it's totally awesome. Yeah,
Because
I
the
mean,
next person who's going to do a concert, they're going to be like, look, we got 12 million people in 24 hours. All these kids waiting to play. But my
yeah.
kids enjoyed the show. So,
Oh, I actually didn't. I got kind of frustrated because I was, my sons have actually been trying to teach me how to play, and so like I was starting to get in, like figuring out, like I actually learned how to like build stuff, and like, um, I'm not a complete liability anymore. Like
a noob.
I mean, they're way better, but like I'm
What do
not
they
like
call you in there if you're basically
a
a target
noob.
in the beginning? Yeah, the noob.
Oh, or a default. Yeah,
Yeah, they.
yeah.
I
Well, they call you sweaty. too, which I love. Like, it's fun hearing like all the lingo for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's also great, you know, you pretty much are going to podium in most situations, and then you get to get humbled by some 13-year-old.
Oh my God. Well, or even younger, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, well, and but that being said, I'm working on becoming like much better at chess. Like I play chess all the time, and like I was playing in tournaments like
Oh,
all
wow.
last year, and I got destroyed by some like 6 and 7 year olds. So like
Wow.
I've been properly humbled a lot lately.
Well, that's a good segue, actually. So these younger guys, like, you've been in the game for a while. Do you
Oh
see
yeah.
anybody coming up who you're like, I'm going to keep an eye on that guy? He could possibly be somebody that's really fantastic.
I mean, I think there's a lot of people like that. I mean, I think actually what I've been most impressed with, and I don't know if we and I think you and I were actually failing to talk about this earlier, but is how many like badass women there are.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think like the most impressed I've been with just is how many women are getting into the sport, how committed they are, how badass they are, how fun they are.
Competitive.
Yeah, and super competitive. Like, yeah, like throwing down and like not afraid to just mix it up. And I think that's great. I mean, I think we need more ladies. We need more people of color. Like, I think like that's, another way that
I see it
we
coming,
can
though.
grow the sport.
Yeah.
And like I've seen that with like I did some stuff with like Harlan Run Club with like one of my sponsors, Nathan, and like, I think, I'm, I'm, a white male dude, and like, that's great. But like, I think there's a lot of, other people that are gonna love what we do, and I'm happy that I'm able to be, out there showing people what is possible, and if they're willing to work hard, and I think like there's I was really impressed. There was actually a kid there was two kids. There was one kid that did the Quarantine Backyard Ultra that was like 13, and he did like 100 miles, which was pretty badass. But my brother and I, and you probably know this race, ran the North Central
NCR Trail Marathon.
yeah, NCR Trail Marathon like a year ago, and it was freezing cold, like
It's,
25
it's
degrees.
like the weekend of Thanksgiving. It's always after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's the weekend after Thanksgiving, so it's like you're full of turkey, or like I'm not, but like you're full of like
Tofurkey.
yeah. So, but like there was, I think, like how old was the kid? Like, I don't know, eight
Oh,
or
I know who you're
nine or
talking about. We did an
yeah,
article on him. He's 13 years old.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like the same age as Pierce. Yeah, and he threw down, and I think he actually caught my brother like near the finish. Like, I think he ran fast.
Do you know what's crazy about him? He's a cancer survivor.
I know. I told Runner's World to interview him, and they did like a big article on him. It was
Yeah.
awesome. But like
Hey,
those kind
I
of
know
kids, like
Robbie's watching. Robbie, post that kid's name if you can. We also have another guy that he was 8 at the time and ran a 3:30. That's what Robbie's saying.
yeah, that's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
It
we
was
have
super
another
impressive.
guy that runs with us. Like, we have the Faster Bastards here in Baltimore, and it's a
Yeah,
fun group. And we have a kid named Morgan who is 13. Just, he's in quarantine. Just ran, I think, a 1:30 something half marathon just by himself. So there are, I think
like
that,
in his backyard.
yeah, it looked like it could have been something like the NCR Trail, but I don't think it was the NCR. But you're absolutely right. We are seeing more people come in. And here in Baltimore, we have Riot Squad, we have Bro, which is Black Running Organization.
Yeah,
So we're seeing that, but also our women runners are really. We've got a nice, and Baltimore isn't known as much for running as, say, even DC used to be a lot more competitive than Baltimore. But we're getting like a small group of women here that are going after OTQ, going after
yeah.
that. So I really think, even though it's depressing that the Olympics aren't going to be this year, the surge for women to be competitive and how many women went to the Olympic trials was, I mean, it was amazing. But
Yeah, it was great. And I think like the other thing too is like the sport's growing around the world, and I think that's really exciting too. So like hopefully, we'll see more people from different parts of the world, or parts of the world that, aren't traditionally like, Europe, and so like, Central and South America, Africa, Asia, like you see, like hopefully I'm going to be doing a race in Bhutan this year if it
Whoa.
happens, like the snowman race. And like, I think also like it'll be cool to like, be able to, do some good with what we're, and so like, I think that that's something that, hopefully I see is like people can, you always have like charity runners, but like
Yeah.
that more and more people will get into the sport and be able to, do good with it.
Before we get into questions, I'll just say, to add on to that point, I feel like there's a lot of people who think that running is selfish and that you're taking time for yourself, which there's part of it that is.
Yeah.
But the thing is that when you start seeing the impact that you have in your life, it's like meditation. You could call meditation selfish, but if you become a better person and you're more easy to relate to and just a kinder person, then that's good for everybody. And I kind of feel that it's underrated in running what it does to the individual and also how that spreads to other people. But that's my soapbox.
No, I mean, I totally agree. And I think what's cool is like, I've seen it just, since I have done like 1,000 laps around the neighborhood, like I've seen like neighbors that that I've never met before, like I'll just walk the dog now and they'll be like, "Hey Mike, what's up? I just started running," or like I'll see them like have, started an exercise routine, or just being kinder to each other. Like everyone kind of came together for some of these events, and then they formed friendships and relationships that weren't there before. And then also like I've seen like, just people from the area coming and just running the loop and stuff. And it's what's cool is like just to see like, like you never know what kind of impact you're going to have. And like, and I've been impressed with like how many people have said like, I mean, I think social media is super powerful, like being able to touch people without having like gatekeepers. You can kind of, have this relationship with people, kind of one-on-one, where you don't have to like, wait 6 months to see something in a magazine. I mean, I think that's something that's changed a lot since even when we met in 2009, is like the ability to like be able to reach out and like I called my friend in Australia. Like I took part in a Hoka One race in Australia this past weekend virtually, but like I was talking to my friend Roger, like just on the phone and like Zooming and like doing all that kind of stuff. And like the ability to impact people and to be someone that people can get in touch with. And like, I mean, it would have been so cool when I first started if I could have, reached out to like Gabriel Selassie and been like, "Hey man, like I keep getting a blister on my big toe. Like, what do you do for that? Because I know you do like way more miles than me." Or like Khalid Kanuchi, or like, Bill Rogers, like, and not have to like try to like wait in line to like talk to Bill Rogers at an expo,
at a book
or
signing.
something. Yeah, exactly. And he's like, "I don't know who you are," but like now, people can just be like, "Hey, I like you." I've had people like, "Hey, what Hoka should I get?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know what you want to do, but like, here are the ones that I like." Or like,
that's a tough thing. I mean, you can running, and even for us, like we always say, it's so subjective of what you're going to put on your feet that you need to, if you find a reviewer that tends to like the same things you like, then that's maybe somebody who's going to get that shoe before you, that can say, "Hey, this is what I think of this shoe." You've trusted a previous review and like that shoe, then it works. But I can't, like, I'll get questions that are like, "Hey, I'm 245 pounds. I just started running. I've got bad knees. What shoe should I be wearing?" Like, not a podiatrist.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's always tricky too, right? Because like some people, their dad wore New Balance, or like, and they want to like, or they're just like, they don't know a certain brand, so they're like, they've never seen anyone wear it and they're not willing to, you know, try it. But like, I feel like, you know, the nicest thing is, and this is a plug for local running stores, and like, you know, that's a great resource. Like, and it's an investment. So if you know, when things are different, or even now, you can, you know, ask someone to put some of the stuff away for you, or just like have it, you know, curbside for you to pick up. But like, just get 3 or 4 different pairs and try them on. And I mean, you're the best person. I remember my parents would always be like, oh, you got to break them in. Like, that's crap, man. Like, if you like put a pair of shoes on and they
It
don't
doesn't
feel
feel
good,
right.
if it doesn't feel good at the beginning, it's not going to feel good when you run 50 miles in it. I'm telling you, like,
Yeah.
from experience. Like, before the Backyard Ultra, I pulled out the Bondi 6 out of a box. Like, I had never worn them before
But
I
you
ran,
trust them.
but I know that they work. Like, so I pulled the Bondi 6 out. I started running and I ran for 3 days in them and had no issues, you know, like, I actually switched in the ring cone for like a marathon, but like, yeah, I mean,
Wait, were you trying to pick up the pace during that section? Is that why you went to the ring cone?
I went to the ring cone just to give, like, because I wasn't expecting to like be in the same shoe the whole time, but also I just wanted them to have a chance to, my feet to just be in a different position, right? Because if
Mm-hmm.
you're always in the same shoe and you're always hitting in the same way, it's kind of like, just an opportunity to feel fresh again too. It's kind of like I brush my teeth, like, you know, it's just like, it's and change your socks. It's like you're just get reborn basically. And
I
so
feel
it was
like that's a
nice.
under someone. If people are listening, pay attention to that one because it's an underappreciated thing. Switching out your shoes is a good thing. If you feel when you put on the shoes, if you feel like going for a run, that's a great thing. But like running in the same shoe every day for 500 miles, I don't think is good for your body. I think that if you have 2 pairs, 3 pairs, switch it up during the week, get a different feel. I feel like that keeps me fresher than, you know.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, even if it's the same model, it still, and what I like to do is I just write the date on it when I first started using it. Or if you have the same one, you can write A or B on it. It took me a while to like be like, you know, but like it's actually super, it's super easy to keep track that way, you know. Some people use like Strava or something, and you know,
I
like
just,
actually had Strava sent me a note saying you've run 890 miles in
yeah,
carbon, and I
because you
was like,
left it as your default shoe, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't change it, but yeah,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a good point. But uh, I use Strava to track them for mostly, so I know because I want to get to a certain mileage before we review, and
yeah,
then uh, but yeah, if you have more than one pair, I either got to get a different color or mark them. But
yeah,
all right,
yeah.
so
I just mark them.
we got some questions. I can't hog up all your time.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, sure,
okay, here's a dad question for you
sure.
because I know this guy and he just had a kid, or he's on a second kid now.
Okay.
He says, "Did running become harder after you became a dad from a vegan who is going to be a dad in a week?"
N- no. And it's funny because like I had people that said like when I got engaged, like, oh, your running's gonna go downhill. And then when you have your first kid, like, oh, there goes all your, you know, all your
Free
free
time.
time. And like, I will tell you that it's different, because you can't just go whenever you want unless you just don't care about your partner. So you have to, you know, figure out like how you're gonna schedule things, especially when the kids are really little. But I have some funny stories about that. Like I would, I especially when we had 2 kids, it became even more tricky. But my wife caught me with Pierce in a baby Bjorn on the stationary bike, sweating all over it. And then I got like a jog stroller, and like if you just get a jog stroller, it's totally, you can run just as fast with a jog stroller as
I
you
think they're
can.
really hard to run with.
Oh, I I think it takes some getting used to, but
The
I feel
breathing,
like,
no arms moving.
yeah, but it's a challenge and it makes you a better
Yeah.
athlete. And like, it's like, doing a strength workout while you run. And I would run like 6 minute to like 7 minute pace with my buddies, like pushing my kids. And so like,
Your stroller needs an airbag.
yeah, well, they were buckled. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So like, I think it's just about figuring out, your timing, and
Yeah.
I call it like invisible training, and it's just like, figuring out how you can get the work in that you want to do, and meet your obligations, and that's basically what it comes down to. But
It's
it
also,
doesn't. I mean, it doesn't get harder. I mean,
would you say
and
it's a balance? Like it's like you have a certain amount of time during the day. So what you take out, you got to put back in. So if you're going to take some time for yourself to go running, you got to make sure that you still have enough energy to change diapers and help with the
yeah,
dishes and
yeah.
that kind of
But
stuff.
I feel like the running like promotes that. Like, I don't ever get back from a run so dead that I don't feel like doing anything, like, for the
Yeah.
most part.
But that's because you've conditioned yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like, most people, if you're, regularly training, like, it's not that much of a difference. Like, I will say, like, the first couple months, it's kind of foggy. Like, it's like, because it's just a different change for everything. Like, you have someone that you're responsible for. You have this like huge amount of love that you didn't even know was possible. Like you have like, how do I hold the head? Like, what do I, like, do I swaddle them? Do I not swaddle them? Are they alive? Like, you go and like, put your hand over their face all the
Yeah.
time, and like, and then you just get trapped, with like a baby on you, and you don't want it to wake up. But like, but yeah, you'll be fine, man. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Let's
it's
see.
awesome.
Let's see if we got another question here. Um, all
There's one
right.
about prepping for their first 50 mile.
Yeah, you can go ahead and answer that while I look through these if you want.
Sure. Okay. I'm prepping for a first 50 miles. Should I be focusing more on back-to-back weekend long runs or double days? Um, I, I don't know. I kind of do both, actually. So like during the week, I usually do doubles. And then back-to-back long run days, I think, are really helpful. I feel like also just having time on your feet, even if it's not running. So maybe you do like a 20-mile run, and then if you're the guy with the kid, like you go for like a 10-mile, stroller, walk. So like, or, go for a bike ride or something. And so like, I feel like just having time on your feet and just being comfortable being out that long, and what that looks like, because like there's stuff you don't think about when you're doing your first 50 mile, um am I gonna have, how many times am I gonna have to go to the bathroom, like do I have toilet paper, like
I don't
um
think I went once.
yeah, exactly. And you
Yeah.
might not, but like
Yeah.
other times, like I've had to go like 10 times,
Oh,
right? And so like if you're in like China and you get like, sick to your stomach, like, and so it becomes more about like how do you take care of yourself. But like as far as like the training block goes, I feel like most marathon training will prepare you pretty well for a 50 mile. And then if you just add in some longer runs and just like longer time on your feet, to get used to it, and then also like just practice taking care of yourself. Like I think that's the biggest thing, is like going from like, it's kind of like going from like running a 5K to a marathon. It's like it's still, it's not, I mean, it's 4 times as far or whatever, but it's or actually 8 times as far, sorry. But like the difference is more, it's like how do you, it's like eating and drinking, like fueling. And I think that that's the biggest thing people have trouble with, or at least I did, is like how do you fuel for that long and not get sick to your stomach?
yeah. What's solid versus, liquids and
Like
all that
liquid
stuff. Yeah.
calories or gels or goos or whatever you're using, and then like being comfortable with it and also being adaptable.
Yeah. All right. So another question I put up and then took down while you were talking was someone, and you dabbled in this a little bit. Have you had a serious injury and come back from it?
Yeah, I had like pretty horrendous injuries. I had 5 stress fractures of my pelvis and 5 hernias, um, simultaneously in 2012. And it took me like 4 months. But I was I was active the whole time. Like I, asked my doctors, like I had surgery to repair the hernias, and then the stress fractures are just, taking time. Um, and so, yeah, it took 4 months, but then I went right back to, doing what I do. And I think that 2013, I raced like 35 or 36 times, and, one race is all over. And so, yeah, it was like my time in the penalty box. And like I worked really hard. I went to, physical
Yeah.
therapy every day. I ran in the pool for like 4 hours. I did, I rode my bike across Shenandoah. Like, yeah, I mean, I worked hard and hiked and, kept fit, but I wasn't able to run.
This is a good question because I have a feeling I would equate this to, I mean, every race is as hard as you want to make it. A 5K can be harder than a marathon
Yeah.
for a short period of time.
Yes.
So this guy's asking, is a 2:30 marathon or a sub 100K, which is tougher? I'm going to say everything's tough, but you go ahead and give your answer.
I think they're both hard. I think the 100K is hard because it's not super fast to run sub 7 until it is. And I mean that I mean it in a funny way, because it's super easy because you're like, oh sweet, it's just like 6-minute 6:30 pace, and then it gets like someone threw a piano on your back and punched you in the face and like jumped on your back. And so usually when you're in like the world championships or something, it's like a big group until like 50K, and then a couple people fall off, and then around 60K a couple more people fall off, and around 65K like it just like blows up, and there's like a couple people left. And it's everyone's talking, and then less people start talking, and then I call it like popcorn. It's just like you're just running in a group, and then all of a sudden it's just like and it's just brutal. And it sucks because it's not a long enough race where you can blow up like that and then come back, and it keeps you honest. And so like the sub 100K becomes, I mean, that's the time if you want to make the world team for the US. So like sub 7 100K is a legit time, and sub 2:30, I mean, is fast, but you're not making the world team running sub 2:30.
That must be why I've never made either the world team or represented US. Like the piano dropped on me, like when you said at a 7:30. If I went out at 7:30 or 6:30 for 100K, the piano would drop on me right around 3 miles. So
yeah, but I mean, it happens to everybody in that race. I mean, every time I've run it, like everybody ends up, you end up like that last, like, it doesn't seem like that's a big difference between 50 miles and 100K, but that last 12 miles is
disgusting.
Yeah, it's legit.
Yeah. And again, if you're racing these things, it's a lot different than surviving these things. So
yes, yeah, that's true. Yeah, but even just surviving 100, like I even felt it last week when I did like the 100K over 2 days, and like halfway through the 64K second day, I was like, oh yeah, that's that feeling. Oh, I feel it. Oh, there it is.
All right.
And the last like 9 miles were
brutal.
Yeah.
All right. So they're asking, if you couldn't race, would you still run? I mean, this is a softball for you, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not racing, like I'm not able to race in person now, and yeah, I definitely, hopefully I'll be one of those guys who are running until they're like 100, like charging up the track and everyone's laughing, So I hope so. Yeah.
Those guys, there's a little bit of love that goes to those guys every time I see them out.
Oh man, they're the best. Like I always like keep track of their records because I want to break them when I get old enough.
All right. Someone's asking, will you ever shave the beard or cut the hair? I'm saying it's COVID time.
Yeah. I mean, I actually just trimmed my beard like crazy because it's Mother's Day, and so like my wife, like I usually give myself like a good cleanup for her birthday and Mother's Day. So yeah.
The 2 times a year.
Yeah.
How far are they apart? Is it the same day?
No. That would be cool.
Yeah, it's
No,
just
it's
one day.
January is her birthday, and May is Mother's Day. So.
All right. Best mistake you've made in your running career so far?
Oh my gosh, man. I've made so many mistakes. I think I'm gonna just do a book that's all just like the mistakes that I've made. I guess the biggest mistake, I have a couple, but the one that always comes to mind is like I ate an Indian burrito before the San Francisco Marathon because my buddy was like, "It's the best," and I was like, "Okay, I'll eat one." Like I got to take advantage of being in San Francisco, and I ate it at lunch because I was like, "Oh, if it's bad, I'll be fine." And then I felt sick for the entire time leading up to the event. I threw up the entire night. I didn't sleep. Like I was like dropped like 10 pounds, and I got to this, and I was like, but I'm still gonna race. And so I got to the starting line, and I was like sweaty and like just kind of gross, and like had that like gross like watery feeling in my mouth, and like and then I ended up winning the race. So like
what was the time?
I think I ran like 2:27 or something.
Is that what you fuel on now before most races?
No, dude, never. It was, yeah. So anyhow, I like it turned out to like work out, and I don't know how, because I remember being at like 22 or 23 miles, and like the guy was trying to put a surge on me, and I was like, no, I don't care. I've come this far, and I like took off, and I ended up winning. But I mean, that was a big mistake. So I don't know if it was the best mistake, but
it was a good one.
Yeah, it was a good one.
All right. Well, we've had you on for almost an hour. I want to be respectful of your time. You have been fantastic, and this has been
thanks,
fun.
Man. Oh,
yeah.
Wait, we have to check our watch to see what time it is.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
There we go. And I mean, my heart rate's doing okay, so that's good. You've calmed me down.
Nice.
Yeah, but this has been great. I appreciate it. I always love when I'm at a race and I end up running into you. Like we were at the 50 miler in California for the North Face challenge. I look over where they're, one of those drums that they're burning wood in before the race so it could stay warm. And I travel all the way across the country. I'm standing right next to Michael Wardian. But
well, yeah. I mean, we're close. I was actually just up in Baltimore with my friends at MedStar. Like,
okay.
So I was shooting some video for them or running around the Inner Harbor and like.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully we'll be able to meet up at some point soon.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I know you ran the Baltimore Marathon with our boy Jeremy, who was with you there this past October. Jeremy's
oh my gosh.
Dude.
Yeah, I think he won, right?
He did. He's just been crushing. This past week he was attempting. We had a bunch of our guys decided it was going to be a monster week of mileage. So Jeremy did 5 marathons, all sub 3 hours. And then our guy Johnny Lyons did 7 marathons, and just elevation was insane. It was like, I don't know, something like 11,000 feet. But these are guys just going out and doing this on this stuff. John Ober, all our guys, they just went out and just piled up miles.
Wow.
People who have never run over 50 to 70 miles this past week were doing like 100-mile weeks and stuff like that, like my buddy Gavin. So it was insane.
Badass.
Yeah. So we had high mileage week. Yeah, my own wife, she's done 300-mile weeks this past month. I think people are going nuts in
quarantine.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it's I think I had my biggest month too. It's insane. Just well, yeah. I mean, I gotta cheat when you get like 300 miles almost in a couple days. Yeah, it definitely it pads your stats.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you make it up, we'd love to run with you. We do runs every Saturday. We have a Wednesday night run too, so we're around. But that'd be great.
All right, cool. Yeah,
right, hey,
Caleb, I'm liking the new Polar.
I'm liking it too. It's taking me a little while to get used to the buttons, but I think once I do, I'll be all right.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
might
All
switch to
right.
the metric.
Yeah, totally. It'll be fun.